Welcome back to this modeling a gun in Maya things series. Where we left off was right about here, where I added divisions to this little clip part. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect those up and make them divisions, which I already said. But yeah, I'm going to make this a bunch of different small holes instead of just one big one. So I'm going to do this in a very, very slow and convoluted way, it's one of the ways I tend to work. I tend to make it. It's just the way my brain works. I guess I tend to make things the hardest way I can, and then just realize at the end I can make them a lot easier, and then just like face palming for an hour. But yeah, it's just the way I learn, I guess. But I don't have anything else with learning like that. It's quite fun because I can always watch myself mess up when I record myself like this. But yeah, so yeah, I'm going to select everything and extrude them out, and then connect the different vertices with the collapse vertex tool or the merge vertex tool, and just going to merge all of those and stuff like that. So this might be easy to watch in double speed, but believe me, doing this and just doing this is very slow and very tedious. So if I would have just done it in the more obvious way, or just making one and then duplicating it along down, I would have saved myself a lot of time. But again, I'm me, and I tend not to do that stuff. So yeah. So that's that. Let's see. What do we have here? Again, just checking here, noticing that I have my inside faces still left, so I'm going to delete all of those, and that's what I'm going to do. Again, I don't think I'm going to end up keeping it like this either, because I think this doesn't quite work for me this way. I'm not sure exactly how it is. It was a while ago I did this, but yeah. You'll see me doing stuff like this here, merging all of them down. Really, I probably should have cut this part out, but maybe you want to see me like using the action-packed process of merging vertices, right? Yeah, I'm just dodging bullets constantly and blocking them with my pure manhood. Sorry about that. Yeah, adding control edges again. Just keep those edges sharp and responsive. This part gave me quite a bit of issues because I haven't, believe it or not, or I guess believe it because that's what it is, I haven't done high surface modeling in a while. When I made this model, I was kind of rusty, so here you can see what I did at the end, just keeping them all separate, and this is what ended up working for me the best, I think, because when you smooth it, it looks correct, and stuff like that. This is what I should have done from the start, but I didn't because I'm stupid, and that's kind of my downfall, but yeah, it's just, again, it's the way I learn and stuff like that. So here you can see it looks quite good, looks quite correct for floating, and probably going to keep it similar to this. Might do some more tweaking to it, but this is the general idea of what I want to do, basically. Yeah, you can probably see what I'm going to do. I'm not going to keep it like that too much, but yeah. So, not much to say here, doing this stuff. You have seen it a lot of times before, but yeah. Here I'm just, again, looking around a lot. You see me paddle up here. I just cut the entire part out because I was just repeating stuff I already have said and stuff like that. But here we're going to actually make a bullet, which is a bit more fun. And I had some bullet reference up again in the other monitor, and I just made this bullet. Very, very quick bullet, and very, very simple. They aren't especially hard to make, they are very easy to make in fact, but I kept it in because it looks cool, and I figured I'd keep it in for anyone who doesn't get how to make a bullet. It's just basically making a cylinder and adding more edges and scaling them. It's not very hard, but it's fun nonetheless, so I kept it in. So here you can see me doing exactly what I said before, scaling and extruding. Not going to keep too much detail on this bullet because, again, this is just something that's in the entire clip and it's not actually going to be shown that much, so not doing much to this, but doing enough for it to still look like a bullet, and that's the main point, right? Adding some control edges to keep the edges I want to be hard, and yeah, you know that stuff. Very, very good with the insert edge tool, which is probably my savior. It's great tool. You should all use it. You can see those caps I have at the end and the front with all the triangles. It doesn't smooth well, but, you know, I kept it because I might fix it actually, I'm not sure, but I think I keep it because it doesn't really matter if I have controllers around them, it doesn't really show too much. But yeah, I think now my bullet is pretty much done, and yeah. So you can see I've done a few things on the clip there. I added that little wheel thing at the bottom, which I'm not entirely sure what it is, but it looks like a wheel, so I'm going to call it a wheel. But yeah, it wasn't really that advanced again, just a cylinder with some fancy stuff on it, which isn't too hard to make, so I figured it wouldn't be the best thing to show. Adding the bullet just to the clip, I'm not sure if this is the exact correct size of it, but I figured it looked good again, so I kept it right there. Again, I'm not looking for extreme photorealism with this gun, I'm just looking for it to look like it could work. I'm not looking for it to be able to work, basically. I'm looking for it to give the impression of working. That's I think I succeeded fairly well with that. So yeah, that's so that's the main part of the clip done, I think, and yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So we're going to group those objects together, then just put them into proper place, and move on with the gun. So yeah, you see them right there. That's the gun. So yeah, kudos to me. That's the clip done. Yeah. Oh God, I'm yawning a lot here. That's so tweaking some sides. I think I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing. Just looking at the clip, I guess, see if I have any issues. Because if you have been modeling for quite a while, like a few hours, just right on, you should probably go away from your computer, do something else, and then come back to it and look at your model, because it could be horrible just that you have looked at it too long and it kind of looks good just because you have done that. Here you can see the little wheel part. I kept the part in when I did the fancy bit on it, so just to see, making people able to see how I did it, because I guess it's not the most intuitive part to make. As you can see here, because I'm actually struggling on making this part, even though there's a very, very obvious way of fixing it, but I didn't think of it at this point. Also, when you're working, I advise you to have some sound on in the background. It just helped. I just found that it helps with working. Having music on or something like that. I tend to have most people have music on. I tend to, as weird as I am, I tend to have other people's tutorials on in the background because I'm geeky like that, and I enjoy listening to them while I work. But each to their own. I tend to prefer that, or music. Music is good too, obviously, but I just tend to prefer that. So yeah, quite probably this is probably the final bit. This is probably how I ended up making this little end part. It looks quite good. Looks quite realistic, I guess, and not sure what it actually does, but it looks quite realistic. So let's just leave it at that, right? I guess not. No, actually, let's not leave. Okay, there we go. Now we're actually doing some fun stuff. The top part of the gun, yay! Yeah. I'll just start by making a plane, and then keep making the plane with 0 divisions, and then scaling it or tweaking it to fit the little top part right there. And I'll start by just making that part right there, which is, again, just very, very easy. But I figured I'd keep it in because I wanted to show you how I started, because I found that when modeling, starting is the hardest part. It's kind of like writing a big story or something. Getting the start right is probably the most difficult part of everything, because just because of how many parts there are in the entire thing, you're not really entirely sure how to start it. Characters are a bit more easy because you can just either make them with cylinders or something like that, or just sculpt them. But guns have so many different parts, you never quite know what to start. So I tend to just choose these things that stands out the most to me when I just look at the model. So for this was this little part right here, and it ended up working quite well for me. So yeah, that's all good. I think I'm going to extrude in the edges now. Oh God. Oh, sorry, dude. I'm really sorry for yawning a lot. I'm not trying to imply that I'm boring you, but maybe I am. Not sure. I'm kind of boring myself at the moment. But yeah. So extruding in this part right here to keep some thickness in here, and I'm probably going to connect the little back part right there. Yeah, I'm going to do that right now. Or not, by deleting the inside faces, maybe? No? Okay, fine. Not. Maybe not. Oh, yeah, tweaking some shapes here, make it more correct. And now I'm going to extrude out this little part right here, which isn't, again, very hard, but it's something that might some people might have issues with, so I'm going to show you how to do it right now. Just extrude out the bottom edge right there, and yeah, quite straightforward actually. Not too much, not too difficult to make. You see me doing that there, scaling it upwards, kind of in these y-axis. It kind of flattens it out, and it's a very good way of flattening it if you don't want to use the method I previously mentioned with keeping component spacing off and just snapping it to something, because that might not always be what you want and stuff like that. So again, using the fill hole tool right here. Which you can see exactly what it did right there. So it's easy when you want to use the lovely split polygon tool, and yeah, it allows me to do funny stuff like this. And yeah, squeeze of the edges again, just keeping them sharp, keeping them correct. Well, not sharp, but I haven't added any edge loops just yet, well, any real control edges, but I'm going to do that soon, so don't worry. So that's probably it. Not too worried about geometry on this bit right here, on edge flow or anything, and not too worried because it doesn't really matter too much, but end up being quite clean. Again, triangles, important part here, triangles aren't the biggest problem in your meshes because while they're generally looked down upon because they don't shade that well or subdivide that well, 1 or 2 in your mesh really doesn't matter. I mean, it tends to be n-gons, well, not really n-gons either. N-gons may look weird when you actually have them in your model, but when you subdivide them, they get split into quads or triangles. So they aren't the biggest problem in the world, honestly. You don't need to worry about them as much as people say. Triangles, although, you do have to keep an eye out for, but not really extremely much, because triangles can easily be hidden. If you have no other way of keeping your mesh clean other than triangles, just throw a triangle in there. That's what I do, and as long as it shades fine when you have subdivided it, it's fine. You don't need to worry about it, really. Trust me. So that's my two cents on that, and that's the way I see it. People tend to freak out far too much. I mean, I do agree that triangles can sometimes completely mess up a mesh, but not always. Not always. No, they don't always do that, so don't worry about that. Don't worry if you have 1 or 2 in there. Obviously, it looks cool if you just have quads, but it's not always the best thing to have. Sometimes you actually need triangles. So here, cutting a bit forward in time to where I have some control edges added, and yeah, so you'll see me add some control edges. Exciting, I know. This part looks quite good actually when subdivided it. It's one of the oh god. It's one of the most fun parts of 3D modeling, I find, to actually see a model take shape, because especially with guns, I tend to start off with the handle on guns, and when you just have a handle, it doesn't really look that cool. It doesn't really, you don't really feel the model, if you get what I mean. But when you have all the parts done, as you see in the end, or well, in the later parts of this video, when I have all of the parts modeled, I kind of tumble around a lot because I'm kind of happy how cool it looks. Because all the parts are right there, and it actually looks like a gun, and that ends up, really tickling my button, and I like it. So yeah. So what I'm doing here is I don't think I'm doing anything too big or serious stuff like here. I'm just tweaking vertices. I think this part is quite done now. I'm just going to tweak some bits and then add the next one. Add some more control edges to keep the edge sharp as always, which is always good. Oh. Also, you may notice why that I have different shading of those 2 parts. That's because I forgot to add the material on both of them, and yeah, that's why it looks kind of weird. But I fixed it now, so here I'm going to start making the little part right here and the little bottom part. So I'm going to extrude these down, and nothing more to say about that. Just extruding them down, keeping them proper. There you can see these scaling way of flattening edges a bit more prominent, and you can see exactly what I do there. It's very, 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 very useful, and I advise you to do it, because why not, right? Yeah. So this really isn't the biggest learning part of the tutorial, I guess, because all I'm doing is just extruding scaling, but I guess it's the way I work that I figured would be helpful for you to watch, the way I choose what to do. So you see that, well, that actually looks quite good. Just need to connect the last part up and it'll look fine. So let's see what we do here. Oh yeah, I'm sorry if I sound a bit nasally because I'm kind of sick at the moment, but yeah, and do excuse my accent if I haven't said it already. I am Swedish, but I don't think my accent is that horrid, so hopefully you can hear what I'm saying decently enough where you can actually like learn from the stuff, which is the main point of this tutorial, for you to learn. So that's awful right there. That's an example of very badly used triangles. I was just lazy right there, and I think I didn't feel like doing anything, so I took the chicken way out, basically. The way I split those edges there is one of the things I think added in my 2009, I think, or 8. If you select one edge and then shift double click another edge further down in that edge loop, it selects all the edges that are connected to that, and it's very useful. It's like the other thing that was added in the same version of Maya, the little double click to select an edge loop tool, which is again very, very, very useful. It's so quick and easy, and I really do like that. So if you don't know what it is, basically, if you double click on an edge, it selects the entire edge loop that edge is connected to, and it's just so quick and so smooth that I don't know what I'd do without it, honestly. I guess it's like the shift drag of Maya. I guess one of those really commonly used tools that is just assigned to one of those hotkeys that is just so good. But yeah. So here you see me connecting some stuff up, looking quite good at the moment. Going to have to tweak this slightly at the end, but otherwise I think it looks quite decent. Yeah, fixing some stuff here. Just, I'm not sure what I'm doing here, it looks quite odd. Quite awkward, I guess, but yeah. Using the, again, the interactive merge version tool, which looks a lot like my Axis one, but, you know, still. There's that little kind of ugly crease, I guess, going on right there, but it's not the biggest deal in the world. I can live with it. And besides, I actually looked at some references. Some guns actually have something similar to that, so it's not that big of a deal. So here I'm going to use some triangles to actually fix this area up, because here I use triangles because they don't show up when I smooth it. And you can see there, I merged those, and ta-da! Those triangles aren't showing up at all, so I figured, why bother fixing the geometry properly? Let's just have a bunch of triangles. And generally that's the way I tend to adhere to with triangles. I tend to just hide them in the mist of geometry. If they are showing, I don't keep them, but if they aren't, I keep them. And why? Because it's easier, and easy is good in my eyes. So yeah, is just fixing some proportion issues here again. Just I'm not looking for, as I've said like 3 times already, not looking for photorealism completely, but want to keep the proportions correct and just the way things work correct. So try to do that, which is good. So yeah, I'm not actually going to attach this part to the handle because I can't be asked to. And it looks fine without it. It kind of looks a bit harsh at the moment, but I do end up fixing that by the end. It kind of looks harsh there, I know, but as I said, I do fix that at the end. And besides, that part really, if any part, that's not going to be shown at all in game, because I do think or plan on making this a game-ready model. So in game, if anything, this would be for a first-person shooter, and a hand would be right on the point where that little weird creases, and you never really see it, so not that big of a deal. And besides, it gives me one of the places to keep a UV scene, so that's always good. So here you can see me doing the little bottom part right there. You'll see me extruding and filling holes, which is always fun. I'm really tired. I'm not sure if you noticed, but yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right here. So I'm going to extrude those inwards, and that'd be it. Running quite. Yeah, here we're going to try, and this is using the point snapping by holding down the V key on your keyboard. You can snap vertices to other vertices or to other kinds of points, but I try to fix that area with that, but it doesn't quite work out for me. So. And I'm not doing that, so just for your information, that doesn't end up working for me, so I don't end up doing it. Again, another one of those examples where trial and error beats everything, honestly. Just the way I tend to work, it's very, very useful just to try and see if it works. And when it doesn't work, you just do it another way. And, yeah. So, I think the little bottom part right there is done now, or well, more or less done. Looks quite good. Has a few issue places, but I'll go in by the end and have a phase where I just clean those areas up and fix the stuff. Not sure if I recorded that phase, but that's what I tend to do. I tend to keep all the minor little faults to the end where I just fix everything and it'll look good. So, yeah. Here, I'm not sure what I'm going to do here. Still trying to. Oh yeah, I'm treating some horses again. It doesn't quite work out, as you see there. It looks quite awful. So I'm probably going to just keep it this shape, and yeah, I think it works quite well for me. Again, not doing much productive here, which you may have seen, but going to try a few different things. Deleting those bottom faces, and I'm now going to re-mirror this over. It's one of those shortcuts I have, so it goes quite quickly. And going to turn that right down there, and I think this actually works quite a bit better than the other one, but yeah, you're going to try this snapping thing, and I should probably realize that this really doesn't work, but I guess I was wanting to try it once more, but again, as you can see here, it doesn't quite work out at all. It looks weird and organic, and we don't want it to look organic, but we want it to look mechanical, because that is what it is. So I think this is at the point where I give up, and I start off making the new one. I think. But don't trust me, right? I'm the only one who did this. Oh god, I suck at this. But yeah. So, is this the point where we're done? Maybe, maybe not. Oh yeah, I should want to be doing after this. Actually using another kind of snappy, it's called the curve snappy. What you do is you hold down your C key on the keyboard, and then you can middle mouse button and drag on different edges. And that'll snap versus stuff to edges, which is very, very useful actually. I don't tend to use as much as the other snaps, but it's surprisingly useful. It's very, very fun to use and very easy and very useful. So if you don't have a 3-button mouse, go get one. It's probably one of the better investments you can make. And yeah, that's all I want to say about that. Here I'm trying to add some more control edges to that area, just make it more sharp, make the crease a bit more visible, and again, that might be one of those too sharp areas, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to keep it like that anyway, don't check it by the end, so yeah. Why am I checking those kind of small faults by the end? Because they tend to take up a lot of time, and I just want to be kind of fast and rapid when working on these things, just working on them, like going on like this, just want to keep the work flowing, basically. But and if I do bog myself down with those small bits, they tend to slow me down and demotivate me. So I tend to just do it at the end, where it's all kind of bundled up into one big thing, and it'll be quite much. It's a bit more easy to work with that way, I find. Then again, that might be that might just be preference. It probably just is preference, but yeah, that's what I prefer anyway. So yeah. Fixing some areas that doesn't look quite as good as other areas, but yeah. Not really doing anything. I mean, I would try and talk about things right here, but I don't have much to talk about really. You can see the importance of edge loops actually, because you can see I added those and they weren't exactly where I wanted them to go. And that's just estimate to how good edge flow is, or how important edge flow is when making your model. Because when making 3D models, you want to have time. Time is always one of the decimating factors in 3D, and if you have correct edge flow from the start, it'll save you a lot of time. Because otherwise, you have to like redirect edges constantly, and it's just a pain. So yeah, this is just a lot easier that way. But yeah. I say yeah a lot, so I'm sorry for that if it bothers you, but it's my way of speaking, my silly Swedish ways of speaking, right? Here, I'm finally making that apart, yay! But, yeah, so I'm going to extrude those inwards and connect them up, and that'll end up being the correct part. So see you there, and I'm actually going to do some snapping here, I think. Yeah, snapping. As you can see, that was the component spacing turned off snapping, which is very, 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 very useful, as I've mentioned before. And we were actually running up to the end of the second part of this tutorial, so I'd like to thank you for watching this part, and I will definitely see you in the next one for more work on this model. I think we're actually doing some more visual parts here. I'll leave you off watching me add control edges to areas which I've already worked on. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next part.